Hey guys, Julian here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a full, hard, melodic rave techno track. Viper Diva, Possession, Alignment, Clone Kunstler style. You know what it is. As usual, you can get the full project files, samples, MIDI, presets. Everything in this track is available at the top of the description on my Bandcamp. This is a really great way to support me. If you guys enjoyed these videos, definitely go grab that. It really helps. You know, I don't make a whole lot off of ads, but with these sample packs and templates, I'm able to keep going. Plus, you get a really solid sounding template to make your own tracks out of. So yeah, link in the top of the description. Thanks for the support, guys, and let's get started. So we're at 144 BPM, pretty fast, but pretty standard tempo. And the first sound we have up here is the kick. Now, kick is 2 layers. So it's just this nice punchy kick. Now I've actually done something a little bit interesting here with the EQ. Here's without it. And then with it. It's really subtle, but it's just doing like a little high cut. Just to make the kick a little bit more bassy. And then we have the bass tom. So this is a tom sample. Like, I'll play it for you. We took that, and then yeah, you can see I pitched it down. Well, it's playing really low in the MIDI. It's low pass, and then we got a little bit of reverb, like really short. It's being sidechained to the kick. A little bit of EQ to shape it. The EQ and the low pass are kind of the secret, because if you turn this off, see, it's got a little bit too much like mids and highs, so we cut that there. And then we cut it here. And the other thing is this can cut out some of the muddy low frequencies that we wouldn't hear, that would add a lot of mud to the mix, especially for mastering. And we can also boost the actual like lows. And the final thing is it just being converted to mono, because you typically don't want this to have any stereo information. And then on the group, there's just 2 effects. So it's just one more EQ, cutting out those same low frequencies I was telling you about a second ago with the bass. And then we also have this high pass, which really just comes on in the intro and the outro. And then yeah, you get that. The next thing we have is the Respace. So it's actually a pretty simple pattern. It's just 4 notes we're in the key of F minor here. So we're using the root note, 4th, 6th. You see those notes are actually really close. It's just the 6th an octave down, 5th, and then back down to that 6th. So yeah, I like doing this like where you just reuse that at the end. It's like instead of adding an extra note, like we could have maybe gone. But it's like just doing this keeps it really simple. And I think it resolves better if you do it that way. For the actual sound on this one, it's made with 2 layers of wavetable. So you can see we just have one, which is just like a unison saw wave. You can see, yeah, 2 saw waves, detune a little. And then this thing is the exact same, but no unison. So you get kind of like the best of both. Like you get the really fat unison sound and the nice crunchy saw wave. And then what I've done to be able to control the filter at the same time, there's a really simple thing that you guys can do when you do this as well, is you just, since these are in an instrument rack, all you have to do is right click on any parameter, and you can just map it to one of these macros. So you can see, yeah, we just have each filter frequency on this one macro here, and then it's very easy. And that's constantly moving throughout the track. You really don't want this to like stop moving at any point. Like it really needs to have a lot of automation and just keep kind of like alive throughout the track, because that's what's gonna make it exciting. The fact that you can click here, and then here, and then here, and it's a completely different sound. You know, you need to keep it really dynamic and exciting throughout the track. Then we have this pad. So this is kind of doing the thing where you have the bass and then this pad, which is just following. over top of that. Like, the way you write this is you just take this bass line, you start by writing that, and then I just copied it and pasted it into here. And then you just create these 2-note chords, like what you're hearing, where this is the top note, and then you just delete the root notes, and then now you can play it with the bass, and you get that same thing. But you get a really cool sound when you have like the bass really playing those low notes, and then this pad playing the higher notes. And so that is actually just a saw wave and a square wave inside a wavetable. We've got a So that is just the square wave and the saw wave inside of wavetable. You can see we've got the unison on the noise setting. I've just got a little bit of reverb, which you can ignore that automation actually. There is just an auto pan at the end of the chain, kind of making it bounce off of the kick. And then that's it for the pad. Then we have the 303. And this is meant to just be kind of a more subtle like background thing, because if you turn that off, you know, we're coming into this new part here. You've heard this pad and the bass line all the way through this track now, so it kind of needed something new at this part in the arrangement to keep it exciting. And yeah, you know, it's really just about creating something that has a nice groove. And also that call and response, that no. You know, there's two different. You need them to be like this one ends on the high note, and that ends on the low note. Now, for the actual sound on this, it's made with operator. It's just a saw wave with a bandpass filter with a little bit of an envelope, as well as the sine shaper, kind of making it crunchier. And then you can see I have a bunch of automation on that filter. Then we just have this amp. Here's without it. And then with it, so that's why we do that. Then we have a bit of echo, a little bit of reverb as well. A low pass filter here, which is just going to bring this in kind of slowly there. An auto pan to make it bounce off of the kick. And then a high pass filter. And then the last synth that we have here is this lead. The idea behind this is that it's just following the chord progression. And then what you have is you have these 3 notes up top. Like, I'll play you just the notes up top. Right? Like, that's its own little melody. And then you're just throwing in these bass notes in between. And these are just following the chord progression. And then where you can see, like, over here, remember in the bass line, that was down an octave. Here we put them up, and you kind of get that contrast with the bass. And then on the ends here, you can see I have these like no. I thought those sounded good. And then for the sound on this one, it's made with analog. So you can see we have 2 saw waves here, just detuned a little bit of noise. We've got the low pass filter, which has quite a bit of automation. So same thing as the bass. It's like, it's not hard to make these sounds, but you just have to give it a lot of movement and bring it to life with the automation. There's also a little bit of an LFO on the filter frequency. We get the amp like that. And then we just have a bit of vibrato and a bit of unison. And yeah, then we have some reverb. I've got my ultimate stereo widening rack. A little bit of drum bus as well to make it fatter. I try to refrain from this so much these days, but you know, it is hard techno. You want to make it nice and crunchy. Plus, with a sound like this, it actually works well, especially if you blend it like I've done. Because it's just going to make it that much fatter in a way that you really can't get without it. And that's the right time to use it. Then we have an auto pan, high pass filter, and then this washout rack, which is basically just a bit of grain delay, a bit of a high pass, and then a reverb, and some compression and delay. And then just kind of like on one knob. makes it disappear there. Then we have the first thing in the drums, which is actually just this loop. You can see it plays in the build up here. It's just got like a low pass filter. And we also have that washout on there as well. But then what it also does is this. Right, that's like the moment in the track. So essentially, what we're doing there is it's the same loop you're hearing over here. You just reverse it, save it for the 2, like have that one. Like how it's like, right? And then there's the tape stop at the end. That's the last stop. And all you have to do for that is you just take an echo, turn off the filter, and then take this dry wet here, automate it to just come on that 1 count right there on the 4. And then you're going to automate these to go just down really fast. And then you get that. And you just have to make sure it's off, like the dry wet, after. But yeah, there you go. And that's also done over here. Then we have this little rave loop. You know, nice like live kind of techno loop. This is one of mine that I made. These are really essential. You're going to, of course, have like your hi-hat and your ride, like all the programmed percussion. But you need to also have these, because these are going to add a lot of texture. These tracks are getting kind of boring if you get rid of like this. Right, like if you just do that for like 8 minutes, it's going to get really boring. So you need to keep in mind. And that's where something like this works really well. And we just have a little bit of a low pass on that. You know, it really helps with the transitions. It's also like a fun little like, when it goes down here. And then it smacks you. So that's kind of like the move there. Goes away at the end as well. Then we have another one. And you notice this one's a lot more just in the high end. And this only comes in for like the second drop, so to speak. I hate calling it a drop, but yeah. And that's like a really good way to just bring this to life in this part. Because if you don't have that, you can see like when we turn it back on, it really, you know, adds a lot of energy and makes this part feel fresh. And that's the key to these arrangements. Is little subtle changes that are going to make it feel fresh. So like having that little high-end loop in the background works really well for that. Then we have this percussion group here. And it actually just has 2 things. So it's just this little hi-hat layered underneath the main one. But also we have this effects loop. So what's happening here is I basically made this. Right? It's just 2 of my effects from some of my sample packs. You can hear it fits into the beat. And then I'm high passing it, distorting it, a little bit of reverb, a bit more distortion. Then there's this auto pan, which is making it go. Right, kind of giving it a bit more rhythm. And then we just have a low pass filter to transition it throughout the track. And this needs a lot of automation. Like, pretty much goes up through the whole build there. Or through the whole intro. But this is another one of those things, like, if you don't have this, like, if you get rid of that, get rid of that loop, it gets really boring. And it's kind of a nice way to take some effects and really, like, make them your own. Then we just have like this hi-hat. It's just 2 layered together. It's a nice 909 hi-hat with the shaker in there. A little bit of saturation. And then just a high-pass filter. We have the ride as well. Pretty much same processing. And then we just have the effects. And these are all just from my track effects packs. You know, just little subtle. And you notice, like, it's really not going to be too many effects in a track like this. That's the key that I think people need to realize. Like, you don't want to have too much stuff going on with the effects, because it's going to be way too much. These tracks are just about space, atmosphere, and creating that by letting there be space and not having too many effects. But you do need some, so this is about how much you need. So that's going to be it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed. As always, make sure to like this video as well as subscribe. And let me know what you think of this video in the comments. Like I said in the beginning, you can get this full project file, samples, MIDI, presets, literally every single thing that you've just seen in this tutorial. It's available right at the top of the description on my Bandcamp, the full track template. So you can really take it and learn from it, make your own tracks, whatever it is. This is definitely the best template I've ever heard for the style on the internet. So definitely go grab that. It's also going to really help support me so that I can keep bringing you guys new videos every single day and teaching you stuff like this that nobody else is covering. Thank you so much for all the support, and I will see you tomorrow with another video.